Hey everybody, I have a box and I took a peek inside of this box already to verify that it has within it a little piece of my childhood. Let me get the rest of this thing open. This is a very unexpected thing I just happened upon while looking on Amazon. There it is. So there are actually two things in here, both of which were unexpected. First of all, this 9-inch Infinity replica. So that's nice. Get some of the styrofoam off it, but yeah, I'll be happy to display that. But that's not the piece of my childhood that this video is about. That is the truck book. So while I was browsing Amazon, I happened to see this. It showed up as just some other thing that was available. I don't know if it was, I don't remember if it was recommended for me or something, but I don't know how this got within my view, and I don't know how this is still made. But I had this very book as a child, and this is not a used copy. This is a brand new copy. Brand new, which is a slightly different material, I can tell by feeling it, than it used to be, but all of the images are exactly the same. I had this when I was a small child. I want to say 2, 3, 4 at the most. Look at that international cargo star right there. Oh man, this is my book. My name is I remember this page, but I don't remember if I was able to write well enough to actually fill that in properly, especially since I have a long name. That old Ford, I mean, these are trucks that used to be on the road that were common and contemporary when I had this book for the first time. These were not. These were much older, but I had no idea what this was. I mean, I would look at it and say, that's a trailer or something. I don't know. A lot of these things just didn't make sense to me. I never, ever realized what that was on the back. A giant pipe-looking thing on the back of that Model T. I just didn't know. I very clearly remembered the shape, and I thought it was funny. I thought it was interesting, but I had no idea. This, I thought, was just a horse-drawn carriage. I don't think I was able to fully understand what was written here. That I knew I could read, but the rest, not so much. Yeah, this was before I could read, so like 3 years old, 3 to 4 was probably, more like 3 was when I had this. I don't remember why it went away, but yeah, I saw this and I just had to pick it up just for the memory, just for the nostalgia. I loved that truck. They don't make them with quite that design anymore. I think that's an older Caterpillar, but very recognizable, and I really liked those haul trucks as a kid. I think I had a Tonka version of one. It was a very different design. It had a squarish or rectangular cab and a couple of smokestacks that were made out of rubber to make sure the kids wouldn't break them off. It was a little bit more like this design, not exactly. But this page, actually, I don't recall very distinctly. This page, very much, especially that crane there. I loved that. I obsessed over that, absolutely obsessed over that image so much. And I am quite certain now that that image is the very reason that I like these mobile cranes to this day, and why I like that style of cab to this day. Anytime I see a cab that's kind of like that, with especially the lower section that angles in, that angles back, that just really connects with me. And this, I believe, is the reason for that. And that goes across not just cranes, but other types of heavy equipment, spaceships, like designs of sci-fi things. Huh. Well, that explains a lot. All right. This I remember as well. I still kind of like those things, but I didn't obsess over this as much. I remember the pipe. I think I thought it was a log. Maybe it is a log. Maybe it is a log. Huh. Okay. Never really realized how much this forklift just looked like a tractor turned around backwards. I think I didn't understand that picture very much. Didn't make so much sense for me. These pages as well, I do recall. Strange that that one doesn't connect with me very much because I really like backhoes to this day, but I guess I didn't like them that much at that time. This picture here, I remember this part of, and then connecting it with this, the scraper. These I really liked, and I always wanted, I think it was a Tonka or an Ertl version of that, but I didn't end up getting one as a kid. I saw one at a thrift store, but it cost too much. Did end up getting one of these though, and enjoyed that very much. You know, a toy of course, not the real thing. What's here? That's an International. Had a toy of that was, I believe that was an Ertl that pulled an oil tanker. None of this stuff really connected with me very much. Just nostalgia just isn't there. It's funny how that works. You know, some things will just speak to you and some won't. This page speaks to me heavily. I don't have any modern interest in forestry equipment in general, except some of how their suspension and articulation works, but this page I definitely looked at quite a lot and found it very interesting. Something about the robot arms. I definitely liked robots as a young kid. This page not so much. Do like that truck, but the other things, I guess, it's weird just how that works with the brain, you know, especially when it's developing and everything is new and fresh and you haven't had experiences to really bias you. I didn't grow up around heavy equipment and big trucks very much or anything, so this was all really just coming from my own little brain's development. Nothing here really talked to me. I think I thought that was a milk truck for some reason, kind of connecting to the one up in the front. That doesn't make any sense to me, or didn't make any sense to me at the time. I think I remember this cherry picker because I did see cherry pickers as a kid, working on telephone lines and electrical a little bit, but mostly telephone. Because landlines used to be a major thing. They're not quite so major anymore. Everybody uses cell phones. This page, nothing's really talking to me here. I don't know if every single one of these pages, you know what? I may have even had some pages torn out of my book when I was a little kid. Maybe that's part of the reason some of these things aren't talking to me. Now this does. So obviously this page did exist because this I remember. This I remember clearly, and I loved articulated fire trucks like this. Yeah, I definitely wanted a toy like that. Never got one, but it's okay. I loved watching the real ones driving around on the street. And I would always wave at the guy in the back, in the rear cab. I think a couple of times the rear driver waved back to me. This page I vaguely remember, but I don't remember the cab of the large cement truck here being so strange in its proportions with the small upper area and then getting larger down below. But I did like cement trucks, and this speaks to me in that sense. The crane part, not so much. Interestingly enough, even though it's a mobile crane, and I love those things, this style, not so much, especially with the trellised arm like that. Oh, I mean, boom. Okay, interesting. Used to ride this exact model, quite a lot, or maybe one that came just after it. But on this pair of pages, that is what is most strongly associated with my memory. The double-decker London bus. And I don't know why. There was just something about it with its shape, and I guess, again, with the development of the young brain, how it sees faces and things. You know, there's just something interesting or funny about the front here. Not so much the back, it doesn't matter. just kind of a continuation of the front, but this is kind of the focus where I have the most strong feelings of memory and kind of leftover interest there. None of the people do I remember at all. So it was all about the vehicles. That's all that I cared about. Let's see. Here, I vaguely remember this. Vaguely remember this. Later in life, later in my childhood, I ended up getting a Snowplow little die-cast toy. I vaguely remember library. Used to go to libraries a lot. Didn't used to have the internet. Vaguely remember this. That was interesting to me. I did like trains quite a lot, and do to this day. And the idea of a truck that would ride on a train track was interesting, as is this cab section, this delivery van cab section. Again, it has some of those same kind of angular cues, even though it doesn't have a part that comes back, but then this section right here does angle back at the front of the door. Something about that face that's created. This I vaguely remember as well. It was an interesting idea to me, but I didn't understand what it was about. I later realized that those were used for loading stuff onto airplanes, you know, like restocking passenger airplanes with all of their, you know, toiletries and the food and stuff. But at the time, just didn't understand at all. This page I remember a lot. I spent a lot of time looking at this page, and I think it was not until late in the years that I had this, or months, you never know with age. Perception of time changes so much, but quite late in the time that I had this, or that I remember it, was I looking at this page a lot for some reason. Because I do remember that once I got into model trains, just a little bit, never had much, but I still remembered this quite clearly, and I wanted to build something like that. That's really interesting. I don't know why. Don't know why. Doesn't make any particular sense, but again, the way the brain works. So yeah, The Truck Book by Harry McNaught. Let me see if this says when it was first published. That's what I forgot to look up in the beginning. Copyright 1978. And it doesn't say much more beyond that as far as reprints and such. But that's cool. Yeah, a little piece of my childhood. And some of the reactions seeing it for the first time in probably 35 years or thereabouts. And this page, why? I don't know. Anyway, weird video. Just wanted to share. Thanks for watching.